Everybody, we will call our meeting to order 7:05 p.m. This is the Milton School Committee for April 23rd, 2025. So the first thing we'll do is approve our agenda for this evening. And I'm aware of a couple of changes. Dr. Burrows, I believe you said that we don't need the superintendent's report prior to the chair's report. Okay, so we can skip that, and then under the finance subcommittee report, we will be postponing the updated fees schedule. That is something that will come before the school committee, I believe, next week, to the finance subcommittee first and to the full school committee after that. So those are the two changes that I'm aware of. Does anyone have any other changes? Anna, we have policy and facilities reports on here. That's still accurate, right? Okay. So other than that, obviously the bulk of what we'll be doing this evening involves the executive session that we'll have, and then coming back into open session after that. But before we move forward, we will of course do public comment first. And so public comment is the portion of our meeting where we set aside up to 15 minutes to hear perspectives from members of our community who would like to share up to 3 minutes with us. We don't respond directly to public comment, but we may, in the course of the agenda, respond to points that have been raised. Is anybody here in the audience hoping to participate in public comment? And if so, can you please raise your hand with the Zoom? It's been a long time since we had a full Zoom school committee meeting. But here we are on vacation week, so okay, I don't see any hands raised, but we'll just give people another few seconds. If you're in the audience and would like to participate in public comment, can you please raise your hand? Okay, I don't see any hands raised, so we will just move on from public comment straight to the chair's report. And what we're going to do to begin the chair's report is actually adjourn into an executive session where we will I'll use the language that we have here in just a moment, and then we will return. So I would like to make a motion I'm going to read out the reason for our executive session. I would like to make a motion to adjourn to executive session pursuant to Mass General Law 30A, 21A3 to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining with the MEA units A, B, and D. If an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining position of the committee as declared by the chair, and pursuant to Mass General Law 30A, Section 21A2 to discuss strategy in preparation for negotiations and contract negotiations with non-union personnel, the superintendent, and the interim superintendent. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, this will be a roll call vote. Mark?
Yes.
Bao?
Yes.
Anna?
Yes.
Selena?
Yes.
And I am a yes. So we will be adjourning to executive session. We will return to open session. So the Zoom will stay open. You all should have received a Google Meet calendar invite that says executive session with a Google Meet link. If you open your calendar, does everybody have that?
I can invite anyone who doesn't have it.
Okay. So, Tom, should we just stay in this Zoom and just sort of go off camera and mute? And then go into the
Yes,
other.
you can do that if you want to.
Okay. All right. So, we will do that and then see each other in the Google Meet. And then we can come back here. Thanks, everybody. All right, great. Thank you. Thanks for your patience if you've been watching. We are back, having adjourned our executive session and rejoined our open session. Yes, Selena.
Never mind. Amanda's now with us.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry. Yes, thank you. Okay. So we're back and continuing under the chair's report, we are going to take some votes on the items that were just under discussion. The first item is going to be the Milton Educators Association Unit A, memorandum of agreement between the Milton Educators Association Unit A and the Milton School Committee. This is a 1-year agreement that will begin September 1st and last through August 31st of 2026. We will be engaging in another round of negotiations next year for a subsequent agreement. So I definitely appreciate the opportunity to participate in that process with MEA, with Unit A. And I would like to make a motion to approve the memorandum of agreement with Milton Educators Association Unit A.
I'll second.
Mark, thank you. Second. We're going to do a roll call vote. Mark?
Yes.
Selena?
Yes.
Anna?
Yes.
Bao?
Yes.
Amanda?
Yes.
I'm a yes as well. So great. Thank you all very much. The next motion. So this is going to be a follow-up to the previous meeting. At this time, we have the opportunity to approve the actual contract for John Phelan as Milton's interim superintendent. That will be effective June 1st, 2025, a 1-year, 13-month actually agreement through June 30th of 2026. That is still pending the special waiver approval from DESE, which we will be seeking for the second half of next year. We are going to be applying for that special waiver in November. So any further discussion on this?
Lizzie, just want to thank you for all your work in putting this together, because I know it's been a lot of conversations, and excited for John to start.
Thanks. Yeah, it's been my pleasure. I'm really excited that we have this opportunity to have John Phelan return to Milton Public Schools. And I think it will be tremendous for our district, and definitely supports our goal of maintaining stability through this school year and into next year and beyond. So really looking forward to working with him for sure. And any other comments or questions? Okay. So then I'll formally make that motion to approve the contract for John Phelan as interim superintendent effective June 1, 2025 through June 30, 2026, pending special waiver approval from DESI.
Second?
Thank you, Selena. This will be another roll call vote. Selena,
Yes.
Anna,
Yes.
Amanda,
Yes.
Val,
Yes.
Mark.
Yes.
I'm a yes as well. Great. Thanks, everybody. The next, so that was our interim superintendent contract approval. Under superintendent, we have an updated addendum. And this is where, Peter, I'd like to acknowledge you. We are updating the separation agreement at your request to have you actually moving up your departure from Milton Public Schools. So Dr. Burrow's last day in Milton will actually be April 30th. Rather than June 30th, which was the original idea several weeks ago now. So this will allow Dr. Burrows to move on to his next role. And Milton Public Schools will be preparing for John Phelan to join us, obviously, on June 1st. We're going to take a vote after this to appoint Dr. Watts as an acting superintendent in between. So, everybody, I think as this meeting concludes, we'll see the tapestry of great leadership that we have here, which is allowing us to move through this transition with a lot of good support. But Peter, I want to just thank you for everything you've contributed here over these past couple of years. And you've done a lot, and I know that we'll continue to sort of see your legacies in Milton. And definitely wish you nothing but the best. Thank you for everything that you've done for us here over the past couple of years. I'm not sure, maybe we'll just take our vote to approve this piece, and then I'll definitely open it up to anyone else who wants to say anything. But the motion that we're making is simply to approve the addendum to the separation agreement for Dr. Peter Burrows with that updated date. So
Second.
thanks, Amanda. Okay, so I made that motion, Amanda seconded. We'll do another roll call. Amanda.
Yes. Sorry.
Mark.
Yes.
Alina.
Yes.
Val.
Yes.
Anna.
Yes.
And I'm a yes. So thank you. It's bittersweet for sure. But Anyone else want to say anything? Peter, is there anything you want to say?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to thank you all for 2 very rewarding years. As you mentioned, I think we did a lot together. When I think about the work that we've done over the last 2 years, I think of it collectively. I don't think of it as work that I did. I think it's work that we did. Um, I think there's so much more uh, that I'm really hopeful that you all continue to carry forward, and there's been so much work that we've identified that is still kind of on the table and really needs to be taken up. Uh, I think to get where I think we all collectively kind of came together and said this is where we want to be. Um, so I want to thank each one of you. I really appreciated everything, and kind of wish you all the very very best, and look forward to returning in 15 or 20 years and seeing how things developed.
Anna, go ahead.
Peter, I want to say thank you. These last 2 years have been great. I'm glad I was on the committee to be part of it. You really helped us build a great working relationship. That was something that I don't think we really had or knew we needed. So I really appreciate how you kind of got us together as a unified committee, and working together. I thought that was really amazing. And also, I just really appreciate how I think probably for the first time, like that I've seen anyway, to actually go out into the community and hear what people wanted and, what they needed from the district, and prioritizing those things. I think each of us, when we come on the committee, we bring our, things that we're passionate about, and they were just kind of floating in space, I think, and there wasn't any structure to them. And I think you really helped us kind of hone in and what our priorities needed to be. And just also listening, having all stakeholders and community members and students and faculty involved in that process to kind of identify what our priority areas needed to be. And I think it was something that I was very proud of, because I think we all found value in it. And I think it touched on all the things that were important to the 6 of us as well. So I just really appreciate how you brought all of us together around it. And there was so much energy around it. And I just appreciate that we finally have like a direction for the district. And I think a lot was accomplished. I would say, like, just in the last 2 years, I've noticed a change, even as a mom, my daughter's experience at school, like it's leaps and bounds. So I appreciate everything that you have done. You will be missed. It has been great working with you, and thank you for everything.
Yeah, well said, Anna. Thanks. Mark.
Yeah, I'll try not to just repeat all the nice things Anna just said, but I just want to say thank you, Peter, for especially just all the time that you've put into this community, and to each of us, and the collaboration. I've seen you a whole lot, especially over the last year, but we've spent a lot of time together. I've seen how hard you work, and the time you're putting into our community, our families, our kids, our staff, and so just really appreciate it and wish you the best of luck.
Thanks. Selena.
Yeah, no, same here. I will not, repeat the same things, but I do similarly want to thank you for your dedication, your time. I don't think there was ever a doubt that you kept, the student experience, students in the sort of at the center. And I appreciate that greatly. I also appreciate the fact that you took the time to listen and to develop a framework that was holistic and that really helped us see beyond the day to day. I think you can get caught up in the day to day and lose sight of, what transformation do you want to achieve? And I think you did help us set that vision. And, I am eager and hopeful that, the transition, the leadership that comes next doesn't sort of undo that and sort of takes it and owns it and continues to build on that vision.
And I wish you all the best in your next chapter. And thank you for the time and dedication to the district and to our students and our teachers and just the district overall. So thank you.
Thanks. Go ahead, Bao.
Also, I don't want to reset everything that everyone already said. I just want to thank you, Peter, for working with the student reps, and you set a great role model of what kind of great leadership looks like, and the listening and learnings year that when you spent the first year at Milton was amazing, and the way how you collect information from the community and then use it to bring in better system into our community is a great role model for the upcoming leaders, whether the interim superintendent or the next superintendent that we are going to hire permanently. So I want to thank you for showing us what wonderful leadership might look like. And good luck with everything.
Okay. Thanks, everybody. And thank you, Peter. Again. Oh, Amanda, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, my hand. I was like, it's the same. As everybody else said, thank you. I only got to work with you for a year, but I really appreciated it. And I think, as others have said, I think you bringing a voice to the community, I think really being able to go out and capture what was important to families and students and have them represented goes a long way. I think people like to be heard and seen and have their concerns and the things that they're proud of recognized. And I think you did a really nice job of that. So I appreciate you bringing that voice forward for everyone. And I just thank you for the time that you committed to Milton.
Thank you all. Really, really appreciate it.
Well, thank you again. And you're here for another week. So hopefully there'll be opportunities to still say goodbye to you in person, or, definitely appreciate you. The final piece of our sort of transition plan here is to appoint Dr. Regina Watts as our acting superintendent. As I mentioned a few moments ago, Regina has graciously agreed to step in and serve in that role for the time in between when Dr. Burrows departs and when John Phelan arrives full time. And as we've said, John will be, he will be in contact, he will be around, he will be showing up at least once a week to kind of be learning and transitioning in and providing support as well. But Regina, just really appreciate your willingness to step up and take on this important role for us as you're sort of moving toward concluding your time as interim assistant superintendent of curriculum and instruction. So thank you so much, and definitely look forward to continuing to work with you in this role. And as we've mentioned, you have a very strong team with Katie. Need to definitely shout out Charlene Roach and Lori Dunn, have been really instrumental in coordinating the various aspects of this transition plan. Appreciate them a great deal, especially Lori, and working with Desi around the special waiver application and everything for John. But it's all going to be great. And thank you so much. We really appreciate you. And we will take this vote. So I'll make a motion to appoint Dr. Regina Watts as acting superintendent for the month of May, pending contract negotiations, which will take place quickly over the next few days. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, thank-
Second,
any further discussion of this piece?
I would,
Go ahead, Regina. Sure.
I just want to say thank you. And I'm really, as I said, humbled and honored for this opportunity. I really look forward to working collaboratively with John and Katie and to offer stability and hopefully to build morale and, build a working relationship with the MEA. And I really wish Peter good luck in his next position. And I feel lucky in that, I've assuming these responsibilities at the celebratory time of the school year. So hopefully it will all go smoothly, and I'm sure that John and I will be able to see the school year through here.
Thank you, Regina. Okay, Mark is back. I know he's in transit now, so we will take this vote. So the motion's been made and seconded. Amanda?
yes.
Selena?
Yes.
Anna?
Yes.
Val?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
And I'm a yes as well. Okay, great. So thank you all very much. That concludes our series of votes under the chair's report. There are just a couple of other quick things that I wanted to mention. So since we've focused a little bit on saying some goodbyes, I would like to acknowledge that one of our members, Dr. Selena Miranda, our vice chair, is retiring from her time on school committee, having chosen not to run for re-election, and your term is ending, and this is your last meeting. And so I would like to just thank you for everything you have contributed over these past 3 years. It has been a very full, eventful, exciting, and challenging time to be on the school committee in Milton. And as we all know who serve, it requires great sacrifice that actually no one really understands until they've served on school committee. And I just am so thankful for everything you've contributed. I would just like to personally thank you, having had the privilege of partnering with you as vice chair while I have served as chair. You are so thoughtful, so smart. You look at things from so many angles. You stay calm, even when things are difficult. And you're just really perceptive. I have relied on your wisdom through so many decisions and situations that we have found ourselves in, and I will really miss you on school committee. And I'm also glad for you to get a break and spend time with your family, with Maya, who's so lucky to have you as her mom. And so thank you so much.
Thank you. If I may, I just want to extend my sincere gratitude to the opportunity to serve on school committee over the past 3 years. I can't believe it's been 3 years already. It really has been an honor to serve alongside each and every one of you. I also would be remiss if I didn't mention past committee members, Ada, Rosemary, and Betty White, and Beverly Ross Denny, who I had the pleasure to serve with as well. And I definitely want to thank you, Lizzie, as our chair, for your leadership over the past 2 years. Your dedication and wisdom have guided us, guided our collective work. And especially during those, tough times, I know that you've worked endless hours, and I thank you for that. And like you said, this job demands so much of us, But I do believe strongly that all of us come to the table because we share a fundamental commitment to our schools, our students, our teachers, administrators, staff, and the entire town. And that is what makes me so proud to have served alongside each and every single one of you. And I know that, there's been challenges along the way, but also there's been great opportunity to advance the work. I'm thinking of the school building committee work that I've had the privilege to serve on for 3 years. And to see that project move forward, it's been one of my moments of just great pride, that as a town, we're recognizing that our schools are overcrowded and we needed to do something about it. And I know the project is still a long ways from being completed, but it's on its way. I was reflecting on this a lot, and, I'm parting today as I finish my term, just really with one wish, and that is that on April 29th, I hope that our residents, our entire community shows up and does what's right. And I think that we need to stand up for our children by supporting the override to keep our schools strong and financially sustainable for years to come. And I hope that that's what happens. And I know that while challenges inevitably remain, I'm leaving with confidence that in your hands, this committee will continue to address things carefully and collaboratively, making sure that Milton Public Schools continues to move in the right direction. But I do want to end with just thanking you for your partnership, your passion, and your dedication to education in our community. It's been a pleasure to serve with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Selena. Mark?
I just wanted to, I'm so sad that our meeting last week got canceled and that we're not able to do this in person, Selena, but certainly hope I'll be able to bump into you at pickup at Cunningham after school soon. But just so grateful to have the opportunity to serve with you. As Lizzie discussed, I think you're one of the most thoughtful individuals I've served with. The comments you bring are always very measured and again, just provide a level of insight that I wish I had. But certainly I'm so glad to have learned so much from you and served with you over these last couple of years. And thank you for all your time. I know mine will be very grateful to have so much of her mom back. But again, thank you. And looking forward to seeing you in person, to say it in person at some point soon.
Go ahead, Anna.
Selena, we ran the same year together, and here we are. I'm happy for you that you decided not to continue. Sometimes I wish I hadn't either. But I'm so happy to have served with you. I learned a lot from you, actually. It's you like just your perspective on having that student voice. I think in every conversation that we had was so important, and it was really nice to get that perspective because it helped me make a lot of decisions that I made, and just being able to see that perspective was really, really helpful. And I appreciate the passion that you brought, and you did ask some very, very thoughtful questions, which I also really appreciated. I learned, and it really has been a pleasure. And I know we live down the street from each other, so I hope we get to hang after at some point. But anyway, I am, I'm so glad to have served with you. Thank you.
Thanks, Anna. Go ahead, Amanda. You're on mute.
Thank you. Sorry, this whole car thing is annoying. I echo what Anna and Mark said. I'm so disappointed I didn't get to work with you longer. I really just appreciate the thoughtfulness that you come to every conversation with and every discussion. And as Anna said, you really bring that student voice forward. And I think that you provide a perspective. I also appreciate how thoughtful you are. I'm somebody who sometimes speaks and then thinks, and I appreciate how you think and then speak. And I've learned a lot from that. So, like I said, I'm so happy for you, but so disappointed that I didn't get to work with you longer. And I just really appreciate the time that I had working with you. So thank you.
Thanks, Amanda. Val.
I'm not going to repeat every single thing that everyone have said. But Lizzie has said it right. No one knows how much work it is until you're actually in the board and doing all the works and all those meetings and hours of spent on reading documents before meetings and debrief and all those stuff. So I want to thank all the hours that you have spent in the past 3 years. Thank you so much.
Thank you to all of you. Thank you for your kind words.
Can I just also say my first year, Selena volunteered for like every single committee. And I was like, I was like, wow, that's amazing. It was really impressive. And you weren't like, oh no, what did I sign up for? You did show up to every single one of them. So I appreciate, and you gave very detailed reports of all of them. So thank you so much. I mean, if it wasn't for you, we would have had plenty of other committees to be on, but you took that on, and I really appreciate that. Thanks.
Thank you, Anna. I did learn. It took a year, but I learned. Thank you.
And Anna, I'd just like to also acknowledge everything you put in over this past 3 years, and your term is, coming to an end too. And thank you for everything that you've done. And as Selena mentioned, we have our election coming up next week. So wishing you the best with that, and the override, wishing the best for the override too. I know we all are. Yeah, we're careful, of course, not to advocate here in our roles. And it is really important that anyone listening here goes out and votes on next Tuesday, the 29th. And yeah, really hoping that we'll be able to move forward with our FY26 override budget. The only other plug I was going to put in was for after whatever happens next Tuesday, next Saturday, May 3rd, I know the MFE is still eager to welcome members of the community to the Celebration for Education, which is happening on Saturday, May 3rd. So I know I'm looking forward to being there, and we'll be honoring our teachers of the year, our educators of the year throughout the district, which is really exciting. And look forward to maybe going into some more detail around that at one of our coming meetings. But I believe that was everything that I have under the chair's report. So I will just hand it over. Mark, I'm sorry that we're over our time for you. Are you able to do finance?
Yes, I can. We have a couple things on finance. I'm going to skip over the first item because that's pass it on to Katie, kind of give an overview. But second item on the agenda is, as we talked about at the beginning, we're pushing towards next week. That's the vote on the fee schedule. We were supposed to discuss it last Wednesday at finance, and that did not happen due to the cancellations. And so we'll be discussing it next Wednesday. If we could be able to vote on it next Wednesday night. So that is where that stands. We have 2 vendor warrants that I'll just go quickly through and make some motions to approve, and we can jump back to the budget date. Sent out the vendor warrants for 39 and 48 to everybody. See if there's any questions. Please raise it. Should I get a second? I will make a motion to approve vendor warrant 39 with $574.47.
Mark, you're just a little bit hard to hear. I might suggest that someone else makes the motions just so that on the audio they're totally clear. Is that okay? I can do it. Was I the only person hearing that?
No,
Okay.
that was the same.
Okay,
Sorry, folks.
that's okay. All right, I'll make a motion to approve vendor warrant 39 in the amount of $571,784.47 payable on April 10th, 2025. And to approve vendor warrant 40 in the amount of $911,067.47 payable on April 17th, 2025.
Second.
All in favor, Amanda,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
Selena,
Yes.
Anna,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. Okay, so those are approved. Okay, Mark, I'll hand it back over to you.
I don't think you called my name yet.
Oh, Bow, I'm so sorry. Bow,
Yes.
sorry about that. Yes, okay, those vendor warrants 39 and 40 are approved. So Mark, you can go ahead.
Sorry. So I'll do it quickly. Just hand this over to Katie with the brief FY25 budget update. Just to share, we have not had the chance to really review the quarter three budget update in detail. Again, given the cancellation of finance, I wanted to share, Katie, to share kind of high level where we stand. Discussion next week. Katie, can you share just kind of high level takeaway of where we right now based on your Q3 and where we were previously, how it compares?
Sure. So the Q3 report was shared with that committee. So there's a copy of that in the folder. In the report, we broke down the current expenditures and then also the projected expenditures by salary category and general expense category. The projections are similar to the projections that we have been reporting since the Q2 report. And so we are still projecting that we will end the year with a deficit. According to the numbers as of March 31st, the deficit balance is $1,259,298. That does not take into account the additional circuit breaker funding that we could potentially receive from the fiscal year 25 state supplemental budget. There has been a few updates on that, and that is still currently being discussed at the state level. So we don't have certainty on if that money is in fact going to be distributed to us for this fiscal year. But if it is, would be an additional estimated $488,000 that we could use to cover expenses for this fiscal year. And so if that funding is distributed for use in fiscal year 25, that would reduce the projected negative balance to $770,000. And we are continuing to monitor revenue that is received into the revolving accounts. So our building use account, the Medicaid reimbursement that we receive, and also some of the tuition-based accounts, so our preschool tuition account, to see if there is potential to increase the offset utilization for fiscal year 25 so that we can bring the overall projected deficit below 700,000. The numbers were not, final numbers were not incorporated in the March 31st financial report. There was just a projection for some stipend payments, but we are receiving in the information for those payments, and those payments will be made in either the upcoming payroll or the second payroll in May. And so we'll have a better sense of the ending balance in some of those accounts. So that will, as we progress through April and May, we'll be able to continue to fine tune the end of year balance projections. And so I can continue to provide updates kind of on a monthly basis moving forward as we kind of close out these last few months.
You, Katie.
Sure.
I know we're aiming to touch upon the large group sub-coverage topic as sort of a specific item under the where we stand with Q3. Does anyone have any other questions on other topics or comments? Thanks for your ongoing work, to help us really closely track this, monitor it, pay attention. And of course, we're all still on that goal, right, of coming in under 700,000, since that's the amount that has been allocated or for us to be able to request to help us close the deficit. So yeah, Mark.
No, I think you just hit on the point. I need to make sure it's clear that changes as of now. We are still projecting to kind of around that number we shared previously with you as a increase kind of revolving accounts, things like that, to the number just under the same, which is slightly but always kind of always take that.
It's a little,
sorry.
it's a little hard to hear you, Mark. But I mean, I think one takeaway is that, as you had mentioned, that this will be able to be discussed in further detail at Wednesday morning's finance subcommittee meeting, right? And so that we can sort of do a follow-up at the next school committee meeting with additional detail. So thank you for that. So is it okay to move to the large group sub coverage question? Because this has been obviously something that we've looked at that was on the list of cost saving sort of strategies that has, been of concern. And we've received input from the community. I know Anna has been particularly concerned about it, as I think we all have, but it's an opportunity to, now that we have a clearer picture of where we are in regard to the budget at this point in the year, Peter or Katie or Regina, I'm not sure who. Peter, maybe share like an update on where we're at with that.
Sure. Yeah, so the high school kind of, after we worked through all the logistics and figured out, exactly what this would look like and worked with the MEA on specifics, I think the high school got moving fairly quickly. There were some issues with at Pierce with technology and figuring out, I think, kind of like structurally how it was going to work. So that has taken a little bit more time. We are kind of like right upon May right now, so we have a month and a half left, I guess. As I think, Lizzie, as you articulated, in hearing from the community and hearing from staff, I guess my question to Katie would be, given how much time we have left, what is the dollar amount of, I guess it's what, 6 weeks essentially remaining, and what the cost savings is from here to the end of the year? Because I guess I wonder, given where we stand at Q3, whether that, I think it's a very small number, whether it makes sense to continue that, or just as I said, just given kind of the numbers that are coming in now with Q3. Obviously, we're not to zero. We still are running a deficit, but I think if that number is, let's say, $10,000 or something thereabouts, in terms of impact on students and all the other implications of it, whether it makes sense to just essentially like go back to our standard sub coverage to the end of the year.
So in the financial report for March, the projections that we had put, or that I had put in the budget for the remainder of the year, are more reflective of the model that we had been using for the first 3 quarters of the school year. And so we had initially talked about changing the model of substitutes just in an effort, if we had instituted it back, kind of further back in January when the deficit was initially projected, that kind of operating in that model would enable us to realize some cost savings. But I think given that there was some work that we had to do with the union and the logistics of kind of rolling that model out, I believe that model was just put into place the past couple of weeks. And so to your point, Peter, it really would only be 6 weeks or so that we would be kind of operating in that way. I know that when we talked about the substitute model, I think the general term that we refer to it is warehousing, but we certainly, when we talked about it with Principal Fish and with Principal Cahill, we talked about making sure that we were operating or providing the sub coverage in a way that was best for the students. And so if there was an opportunity for us to kind of combine classes in a way that made sense, that we could certainly do that. And going through having those conversations with the union truly enabled us to do that. But in other instances, when it comes to combining, classes together, that if the students are in the library for an extended period of time with no access to that computer, then of course, then that would have an impact to their learning. So I think at this point, financially, there wouldn't be a significant cost savings if we were to go back to the original model. There wouldn't be a significant cost savings if we said we were going to continue to group the students together. But I do think that in certain instances, there's ways that we can do that would actually make sense, so that it could potentially be, in some sort of hybrid model that could work moving forward. But again, it's not going to be a significant cost savings for us, given the fact that would only be operational for 6 weeks.
Thanks. That makes sense. Does anybody have any questions or comments on that? Oh,
So,
Anna.
oh, sorry. So just to kind of clarify, so are we gonna say that we're not gonna go that route unless it was a specific scenario where it made sense, right? Like if they had access to devices and access to internet access and so on and so forth, that they could do their work and still continue learning and there's no interruptions. And then if that's not the case, then we wouldn't do that. Is that what I'm kind of hearing?
I think what we're talking about is not specifically internet access or the construct of large sub coverage, which we could talk about. I think what we're talking about is given where we stand at Q3, with much greater clarity to the end of the year, and looking at the potential cost savings of continuing this model for the next 6 weeks. I think as I mentioned, my recommendation is that I don't think the cost savings, the cost benefit to me is not there. So that's what I'm sharing. But in terms of the construct of students having internet access, that is something that we went into this with that as part of the model, that students would have internet access, and there is a certain number that can continue to have access that appears in the auditorium. It's not that there's no Wi-Fi. There are drops right in there. The issue is that it can't handle 400 students at once. So you have to know what the limit is. So Bob Pattison was working with Bill Fish to figure that out and determine what the capacity was. I think the other issue that has come up through this has been that people are having a flashback to COVID. And so I think that's another challenge of this model is they're thinking it's going back to that exact same experience that students had. So I just think that's in the mix here too.
Yeah, and I would agree with that. And I also think if there isn't significant cost savings that we're getting, looking at the next 6 weeks, I think if there's a way around it, I wouldn't recommend going that route, especially with next week and so on and so forth. I want to make sure that, people are supportive of the decisions that we're recommending. So I just want to make sure if something that we can do without, that would be great.
I agree with Anna.
Yeah, me too.
Same here.
So we're not like formally voting on this as a change per se, because Peter, this is something that you, Katie, and Regina you're sort of in a position of implementing
Yeah.
the plan that had previously been approved. And so, but it's helpful to be able to have this adjustment to it for sure. Thank you for making that possible. Okay. Any other thoughts on the Q3 budget? We'll continue with that. Sorry, Amanda, are you raising your hand? Okay.
No, I was trying to tap a light so it's brighter. Sorry.
All right. I think we're coming close. We're coming.
Amanda, this has been really fun having you in your car for this meeting.
I'm sorry. I was trying to figure. I was stuck between. So I was like,
yeah,
I couldn't get home in time, and
well,
so I apologize. My laptop's next to me, if that matters.
Fine. We're all doing our
not driving.
best.
Not driving.
We're
Right.
doing our best. We were not supposed to be meeting this week. So
Yes, sorry.
Thank you everybody for thank you all for being flexible to let us go through with this meeting after last week had to be canceled. Mark, is that everything on finance, or is there anything else?
That's it.
Okay, thank you. Anna, I'll hand it over to you for updates from policy.
All right, sorry, I'm gonna toggle back and forth. So for policy, we met last week on Monday, April 14th. We had Mark joined our meeting, and so did Regina, and Katie joined as well. And we also had Zina Hamada, who is the Director of World Languages, join our meeting as well. And on the agenda, we had the French immersion policy, and there were some wording changes that we started to discuss. Just came out of, I think a lot of times when families write into us with concerns, it really helps kind of just have us address it at our subcommittee meetings, and obviously at our meetings, just like with this large group sub coverage issue. We looked at, we didn't actually, it was just basically an initial discussion. It was really helpful to look at policy JG-A for our next meeting, which is for the program assignment to have students that are currently out of district in private pre-K not be able to participate in the French immersion lottery currently. So just changing wording on that, which we will look at the May meeting. It was also really helpful to have just kind of a background on the French immersion program, and just helpful that it had been around for so many years, and just kind of understanding what French immersion means, and learning and thinking in French, which was very, very helpful for me. My own kids had gone through it, and but it was really nice to get kind of a nice background into the program. Obviously there are caps due to demand, and students are placed in the lottery, and so on and so forth. And I think also the director talked a little bit about DESE requiring early literacy screeners a few years ago, and because our students start French in first grade as opposed to kindergarten, like the other district in Holliston that offers French, we're able to use the DIVL screeners for grades 1 and 2 because of the instruction in kindergarten for English. As we've all known, there are issues with students on waiting lists this year, so there was strong advocacy for an extra classroom, which was also very helpful. So although at our next meeting we will be looking at the language change, this is possibly something that we could look at holistically, look at the policy more holistically, and try to accommodate some of the feedback that we received. So as I mentioned, at our next meeting, we will be looking at the red line version of that policy to accommodate that language change, but hopefully in the future. And I think also it would be really great. I don't think the school committee has seen a presentation on French immersion. I think it would be really helpful, I think, for all of us to kind of get insight into this program that we offer as a district. So I thought that was great. And then we had a series of meeting minutes to approve, which we were also able to do. So I think for the next meeting, we're all gonna get to the calendar policy, which we also need to look at, and same thing at the updated French immersion policy. And I will send you the minutes of this meeting later this week, just in case. So, but yeah, that was the update for our policy. And then, I have facilities. Facilities had a great meeting. I just want to personally thank Linda Lee Sheridan for doing the minutes every meeting. She does a phenomenal job. It's such a huge help, and I appreciate her always volunteering to do them and sending them out very quickly after our meetings. So we did get we also met the same day, April 14th, right after the policy meeting. We had some, actually, I'm so sorry. I should have asked, did anyone have any questions on the policy meeting? No? Okay. Oh, Amanda.
Thanks. So did you say that, excuse me, because I didn't see it in the folder. Did you say that the information around the policy or the updated policy around French will be
It
in?
will be actually at the next policy meeting, and then it will come to school committee.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you. No, but that was helpful. Appreciate it.
Okay, so sorry, getting back to facilities. We had an update from Tom McCarthy, our consolidated facilities director. He just talked about, odds and ends that they've been doing at fixing around our buildings. 2 light poles were recently replaced outside of Pierce Middle School. The head end room had the AC unit replaced. The temperature control issues at Pierce Middle School, they've been looking at that. There have been concerns about some of the rooms being too hot. There will be, I know there was an email sent out to staff about appliances there, and they're kind of just going through all the classrooms and just kind of figuring out ways to kind of save costs on utilities. Just figuring out ways on, hey, how can we bring some of those costs down? I think an overall effort for us to, be better and more efficient with our costs. And I think typically they turn off the heat in all the buildings by April 15th. But since it was so cold, hopefully it stays warm. They're waiting to see how it goes. So hopefully that'll be soon. In terms of the Cunningham Collycott 3rd and 4th floor project, Tom shared a calendar with us in terms of the phase 1 renovations that the owner's project manager provided. We still need a plan for clearing out the library and what to do with the books there. We might look at maybe having a company come in and remove all the books and shelving and all of those things and store it. And then once the renovations are done, bring them back. So they're kind of looking at quotes for those. And then in terms of the update on the outdoor learning and open space improvement plans, Matt Morong, one of our committee members, has been kind of heading up that effort. They toured along with Pete Jackson and CPC and Tom McCarthy. The previous week, they had toured Glover and, and so I know some of the schools have already presented proposals to the CPC and haven't gotten grants to make some updates. But what we would really like to do is kind of join efforts and kind of have an overall vision for each of those spaces so that we're maximizing the space and, there's everything, all schools are, have an overall vision for the space improvements that we're looking at. So there is a shared vision. So we're looking at also having equal access for kids and just kind of making the efforts more coordinated versus kind of, each school kind of doing its own, but just, whether it comes in front of the school committee or the superintendent for approval before it gets in front of the CPC kind of. So just to make sure that making sure that whatever the schools decide to do, we're like, hey, just kind of making sure that there is an overall vision to all of it. So just kind of involving in that process. So I think Matt's going to continue to kind of lead up that charge and just kind of, help out with that so that we can, get more support on it and so on and so forth. And that was that.
Anna, thank you for your leadership on policy, both policy and facilities this year. You've done a lot in both of those areas, and it's a lot of work to chair those subcommittees and advisory committees. So thank you.
Well, I'm just very grateful for all of you guys and for, Lizzie and Bao and Peter and regularly been on the policy subcommittee, and it's been a pleasure kind of been able to go through all of those policies and kind of streamlining all of our existing policies, and then now you know, taking ones that come up and really just doing a deep dive into all of them is really been great. In terms of facilities, Mark has been just awesome to work with, and just I really enjoy the community members that are also part of that board. They just have a lot of energy, and I'm just grateful that, you know, I was telling them, it's like after we got approval for the 3rd and 4th floor, it's like now anything's possible. So now we're just like, okay, what can we do next? So there's just so much energy there and enthusiasm there. I think people are just really excited that like we can, you know, we have this sense of we can make anything happen right now. So I'm just really grateful to be a part of that committee, and just having some wonderful members on there, and just hope that they continue to stay on. And I, you know, yeah, it's been great.
Does anyone have any other questions regarding facilities? Okay. Terrific. Well, we do not have meeting minutes to approve tonight. So next meeting agenda items. Next Wednesday, April 30th is the reorganization meeting for the school committee. That will be our next meeting, and I believe we will, as we've said, further discuss finance at that time with Q3. And I know that Regina, we will work with you to find the appropriate time to bring forward the 2 reports that were unable to happen tonight with vacation. Those may happen next week, or we'll work that out under the superintendent's report. So that just brings us to a motion to adjourn, does anyone have any final thoughts before we do that? Okay. Thank you all again for interrupting your vacation week to spend this time together. And I will make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, I heard Amanda second. So roll call vote, Amanda,
Yes.
Val,
Yes.
Anna. I saw you say yes, but I didn't hear you.
Oh, yes.
But yes, you said yes.
Oh.
Mark,
Yes.
thank you for still being there. Selena.
Yes.
And yes, okay. Thank you all. Thank you all so much.
Bye.
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 Thank you. Bye-bye.